So do you think Don Callis is with Blackpool, or you think he is just using them as not necessarily a cover, but like just using them to his advantage? And who do you think he was talking to on the phone? After there was a, I don't know if you've seen it. There was a clip of him talk. They're trying. Alex Marvez is trying to get answers. Don Callis is running. Alex is literally running after him. He's on the phone with somebody, and so there's been some speculation about who he was talking to. But I will before I tell you what the speculation is, I will let you.
Some part of me, just because Jon Moxley is going to New Japan at Dominion, feels like Don Callis could slip in with them because of that.
That's an
It's an
interesting
old school
point.
connection that's got you. I mean, like it or not, I mean, Zach's kind of calling Moxley out by being like, "Look, I have my own young boy." Like that's
right.
not a direct call out, but it is kind of a call out. It's
which would get him to Danielson, because that's the
right. So there's that. I mean, it's in a weird way, the marriage makes sense. But I don't, and I think, but it'll be a very tenuous one because, or not a marriage at all, just a relationship. Because I don't think Moxley or Danielson are dumb, and I don't think they are dumb enough to, like, it could be a case of like, they think they're using Don Callis. Don Callis thinks he's using them.
Right. And then it's like, gonna blow up in their faces, probably.
The invisible hand deal where they think that he's on their side, but then there's maybe something bigger, because we still have the big like outlier of like, so why do you want Takeshita?
Like, right. That's been the thing. That's the thing that you and I have gone back and forth about. Like, that's been our big question.
Cards.
Yeah. And
but
so
what do you want Takeshita? They've got their kind of like, nah, they could use him. Takeshi's like such a natural like baby face.
He is, yeah, and that's why it's so hard to figure out what he's doing, because with Takeshita,
I mean, maybe he's trying to pull him into BCC, and Takeshi's gonna be like,
because Danielson wants him. Danielson clearly
wants. Be like, no, I'm not a dick. I'm gonna go be with the elite. Now that they're turning back face, which everybody loves them faces.
Right. And so that's the thing. Like, I think Callis, I don't think he's officially Blackpool. I think he's using them because that's what he does.
Maybe it's like enemy of my enemy stuff.
Right. And then Brad pointed out something, which is I was going to get to. So Don is hinting at Will Ospreay. But I think that's too obvious. I mean, sometimes the most obvious answer is the answer.
However, I would see him with TMDK more than
Empire.
but
they don't need him.
No, but they're sneaky jerks, so you never know.
TMDK, but United Empire, I think, would make more sense than TMDK.
Actually, yeah, you're probably right. Because Zack Sabre Jr. is kind of like he's like the face of that thing. He's like he took over. I mean, almost you feel like there's not enough like. That's too much ego for one.
yeah, and I can see the Ospreay hint. Like, so he hinted that it's Ospreay because he changed his location to Winnipeg, bruv. And there is somebody screenshot the tweet where he said something back to Ospreay a couple months ago. He called him bruv. So it seems, and again, like I said, the most obvious answer could be the answer, but I feel like because it's Don Callis, he's not that obvious. He's typically, because he's the invisible hand, he tends to work privately, like where you don't, like we can see things, like we knew the turn was coming. We just didn't know when. So like he operates kind of obvious, but he kind of operates like he's like a snake.
He's a snake.
He does things in the dark. Daza says, I think there should be some mastermind who's been pulling strings in various feuds in AEW, like an Illuminati of wrestling.
Well, I mean, Don Callis could take that role on, I guess.
He really could.
Honestly, I'm not going to lie. Like, one of my favorite social media wrestling feuds is definitely Lance Storm versus Don Callis. Some of the most amazing Twitter feuds.
Yeah, they're so much fun. If you don't follow them on Twitter and just read it, they're always fascinating and they're funny.
I love those too.
And they're like out of nowhere too. Like they'll die down and not talk to each other, and then all of a sudden one of them just like jabs the other one. It's usually Don starting stuff with Lance out of nowhere.
It's always worth it.
Yeah. So Daza said CM Punk is behind it all. See, some people have wondered if Don is going to be how CM Punk comes back on TV. That Don is.
I didn't even think of that. He could have totally just done that to go be with.
Yeah. So because I wondered, because it would be against the Elite. Because that's who I could see it being Ospreay, but I kind of wondered if it was Punk, because that's the thing, is nobody knows yet if Punk is coming back as a heel or a babyface. It's assumed he would be a babyface if he's feuding with Jericho, but obviously he has a lot of baggage and all that stuff, so he could play into the heel stuff because of everything that happened that he did to himself. he could run with that and be a heel if he wanted to. So I could see them maybe doing something with Don Callis, keeps them somewhat related to the Elite, but also somewhat separated if it's true that the Elite don't want anything to do with him. There's that. So there's a lot of possibilities there. Gray says he's taking the place of Regal, and now the Elite can be babyface. Yeah, and see, I thought some people think that if he did join with Blackpool, it's because he's taking Regal's place. Nikki said Don is why Kenny got bit. Probably. So there's so many possibilities, which I guess I like, because there is it may just be the super obvious thing that he's with Will Ospreay. He's helping Ospreay against Kenny, but why is he helping Will Ospreay?
Does Will Ospreay even need help?
He doesn't. And if you're going for the new young thing, like we talked about with Takeshita, then Ospreay is consistently banged up all the time too, just like Kenny. So that argument doesn't work there, but it'll be interesting to see. Brad says they added a Don Talk segment for Dynamite, so we'll have some answers. It was somebody in the replies of the video asked if we were going to have to tune into Impact to find out what Don Callis has to say. Which honestly would have been really great.
Fantastic.
Somebody said it's the DCC now, the Don Callis Club.
Yeah, it's possible.
It may be, like I said, it could be the most super obvious answer out of all of this, or it could. But I was gonna say, but Blackpool is really, really obvious, but so is Ospreay is really, really obvious.
Yeah.
So it could be either of those. It could be CM Punk. It could be Don Callis is kind of like MJF, where he just kind of plays everybody as long as you pay him money, because MJF is not above paying people to get what he wants. So maybe Don Callis, maybe he's aligning himself with Miro.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe that's how Miro comes back to TV. Maybe he's aligning himself with Thunder Rosa.
He could be anywhere.
Maybe Andrade is finally getting his crap together. He's gonna start a faction, and it's gonna be Andrade and Miro and Thunder Rosa, because it's the people that. Then you'd have to put Eddie Kingston in there too, though. Sometimes.
Oh my gosh, this is getting complicated.
It is. So I'm really interested. We'll see how this Don Talk segment goes on Dynamite.